All right, last one today, 9.5. Here we go. So, key terms today: recognize that sustainable solutions to agriculture must conserve soil, water, and energy. Those three things are very, 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 very important. And also, identify a variety of solutions that can produce all that stuff sustainably. All right, again, the overarching goal of our class is that sustainable, or is sustainability in general. Some of our key terms: soil conservation, organic fertilizer, synthetic inorganic fertilizer, and aquaponics. All right, so what are some sustainable solutions? Efficient energy resource use, reducing the harmful effects of industrialized food production, and eliminating government subsidies will help us produce food more sustainably. Now remember, government subsidies, you're going to pay a farmer to do do monoculture. You have 10,000 acres. Instead of you creating polyculture and a whole bunch of different things, so you can do that integrated pest management, all that stuff, the government's going to say, hey, we need a lot of corn. We're going to pay you a fixed amount if you turn that 10,000 acres into all corn. When the farmer, they're not doing so hot, their profits are pretty low, and they have a guaranteed paycheck, they're going to go that way. All right. So soil conservation, very, very, very important. Terracing, you can do contour planting, strip cropping, planting crop cover, setting up windbreaks, all those kind of different things that you can do. Okay, that's going to make it so the soil stays there. You can also do what's called alley cropping and agroforestry, so planting crops in the orchards. So basically, like agroforestry, having agriculture in the forest is the basic idea behind that whole thing. All right, organic fertilizer use. Okay, this organic fertilizer use is one of your vocab words is organic fertilizer. It's here: animal and green manure and compost. So basically, taking stuff that already exists in nature, letting the bacteria kind of break everything up, that's now your fertilizer. So like personally, I do composting at home because that compost is going to turn into fertilizer for my garden. All right, reducing irrigation dependence. Remember, irrigation is just watering. So basically losing the dependence on that. So one of the ways you can do it for rain barrels at home if you want. You can rotate crops, switching to salt tolerant varieties and so on. So crops can be more sustainable. So you can do organic agriculture and polyculture. Again, poly means many. You got to make sure that vocab word, remember. Use more renewable energy for agriculture. So instead of those big tractors all on fossil fuels, maybe try some electric vehicles and stuff like that. Making the transition, okay, increase research on organic farming and perennial polyculture, which is improving human nutrition. So basically, it's what's called capital investment. If the government or private industries can kind of like put money into making it better, then it's going to flourish. That's what we're talking about there. We also need agriculture education and training. So for example, we need the farmers that were doing it really well, such as in the video with Down to Earth and the regenerative farmers. Those guys, we need them to educate other farmers. Or honestly, come to school and teach us how to do it. I think that'd be great. International funding for the poor countries, subsidies that promote sustainable agriculture. So instead of the government saying, hey, we need monoculture for all those acres, the government's like, tell you what, we will help you set up a polyculture so that way it can be better. It can use less insecticides, less herbicides, less pesticides, and so on. And then better consumer education. So teach the consumer, when I go to Fred Meyer, I should buy that tomato because that's only from 5 miles away versus that tomato, which came from Virginia or wherever. Teach the consumer how to be a better consumer so that way we're choosing the things that are more sustainable and using less fossil fuels. Meat products can also be more sustainable. Okay, meat consumption is the largest factor in growing ecological footprints in affluent nations because people are getting more money. They see the stuff like, oh, look at that filet mignon. When I get some money, I'm going to have a nice meal like that. So as people get more money, they're going to want the nicer meats to consume. More sustainable methods we can do, the free-range chicken and using chicken manure for fertilizer. That's actually what I do at my house. So free-range chicken, rather than those CAFOs, remember those concentrated animal feedlot operations, instead of all the chickens jam-packed in a warehouse, just put them in a big field. Let them kind of do their thing, have them graze, kind of rotational grazing, stuff like that. You can do that to help be more sustainable. Okay, more grain-efficient forms of animal protein, such as poultry and plant-eating farmed fish, eliminate and sharply reduce consumption of meat as well. So basically, like I've heard them say meatless Mondays. So instead of you eating meat 7 days a week, well, now we're only going to eat it 6 days a week. Or maybe meatless Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever it is. We've got to reduce our consumption of meat. That's what we're looking for there. All right. So You can give certifications to different types of fishing. So this is fish sustainably and so on. So the certification can come from these guys, the Aquaculture Stewardship Council and the Marine Stewardship Council. And there's also this open ocean aquaculture and the zero discharge freshwater ponds and tanks. These things are actually really cool. They're basically a way to kind of like just take the water that's there and just recycle it. Even though it has fish waste into it, move the water that has fish waste over and it can irrigate plants because that waste is food for plants. And so basically all the waste just goes to the plants. All right. Better consumer choices as well. And the poly aquaculture. So originally we talked about aquaculture like all brine shrimp or all salmon or all whatever. If you can kind of mix and match them together, obviously not putting a predator with the prey, but mix and match them together, that'll work out better. All right. Pretty straightforward with 9.5. Real short, sweet, to the point. Have a good day, guys.